learning to love God for God's sake invites us to love as God loves and to love those who God loves, even ourselves. Hi, I'm Warren, the rector here at St. Columba's. Glad you could join me for my message of the day. Worship of God is an activity that is undertaken for its own sake. We worship with no ulterior purpose in mind. In worship we learn to love God more deeply, and to love God for God's sake, not our own. We don't worship to gain inner peace, although that might be a result, at least sometimes. We might love God because of God's goodness to us, of course, but we don't love God to make God be good to us. And the Sunday service, the liturgy as we call it, the service itself, the words and actions, gives us the words and actions to express our love and gratitude without encouraging us to think that we are making God love us. And in learning to love God and how to express that love in the liturgy, we learn how to express that love in our lives. And a key way of expressing our love of God is to learn to love who and what God loves. Love mimics love. So, God loves our enemies. Therefore, to love God for God's sake changes how we see our enemies who God loves. We learn to love others without return. For God's sake, we love others, even ourselves. We come to love ourselves for God's sake. And here we meet again what seems a paradox. If we want to learn how to love ourselves, we have to give up that desire for self-love and instead learn to love God for God's sake. And in that way of, if you like, losing our life for God's sake, we gain it. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.